Good morning and welcome. 8:07 on the Bob Rose Show, along with Greg Cassidy. Time check brought to you by Hayes Jewelers, where the answer is always yes. And here to give us a lot more answers to some important questions, Congresswoman Cammack joining us right now. Good morning, Kat. How you doing?
Good morning, Bob. I'm doing great. How are you and Greg doing?
We're fantastic. I have to start off by congratulating you. You thoroughly were ripped to shreds to some extent by a guest columnist in the Gainesville Sun. I want to say congratulations.
Wow.
One of the things they said is you're legislatively depressingly similar to that of your predecessor. So that to most of us,
congratulations,
is high praise.
Yeah, that's good.
So, and you're also bad because you do so much and you put out color photos. So, keep that in mind.
What are we in a black and white world or what? Come on.
Yeah. All right, I'm almost done wrapping up this mullet, and then I can put the Gainesville Sun aside. Seriously, Congresswoman, we've talked about the border. You brought local law enforcement. We've talked to them. We know it's real. We know it's serious. Is there any reason to make us think that the Biden administration is going to change position on it anytime soon?
No, which is really interesting considering that even Democrats in Congress now are starting to get very concerned about, and of course, it all comes down to politics. They see the polling numbers across the country. They see how concerned people are about the lack of security at our southwest border and what that means to our communities. It's drugs, it's crimes, it's pressure on a system that is already being strained. And so in Congress, we have movement in the legislative process to, one, send troops to the border, which is a huge win, two, sending additional resources to our Border Patrol agents who are struggling, retiring at record historic rates. And something that the Gainesville Sun probably didn't mention is that next week, the Homeland Security is picking up one of my border bills that pulls all of our Border Patrol agents out of the processing and babysitting that they have now been relegated to and puts them back on the front line where they can do their job that they signed up for, enforcing our damn borders. And believe it or not, Democrats have finally said, you know what, we have a problem here. And so they're picking up our bill and running with it. And, we'll just have to wait for the Gainesville Sun to tear that one to shreds too. But that's fine. I think if they're tearing me down, then I'm doing something right.
Well, that's why I congratulated you, because we know you're on the right path. So, no, seriously. All right, so I kind of thought that as we get closer to the midterms, the Biden administration would pretend all of a sudden they're going to play border security. That was kind of my thought, and that's what I was, asking about. You covered it more than enough. Let's go to the budget. You warned us it's not just money. There's other stuff hidden in there. They said this thing's dead, like so many other things like Obamacare. Oh, and then it comes back to life. So what's the deal with a lot of the hidden stuff that's in the language of some of these spending bills?
Oh, my goodness. I got to tell you, this reconciliation, it's a $5 trillion package when you think about it. When you add up everything, it's $5 trillion just this year alone. That's obviously something we can't afford. But, it's $2.1 trillion in tax increases on American families. It's kicking our corporate tax rate higher than China. So 26.5%. It is higher than China, communist China. It basically institutes doubling of capital gains. It forces unionization of every single private business in America, forced unionization. It cuts out all of our energy independence that we've been working towards for years. It gets rid of the Hyde Amendment, which the Hyde Amendment protects taxpayer dollars from going to fund abortions. So now the Democrats are just being completely open with it. They want our tax dollars to go fund abortions. And it's not just any abortion, it's late-term abortion. It's giving tax breaks and handouts to the wealthy. Do you know that families earning $800,000 or more receive $118,000 in credit under this plan? This is not about cutting taxes. They want to increase taxes on every single American. And, of course, it sets the stage for the Green New Deal at the expense of all our mom and pop shops and everyday working Americans. And it's infuriating because we all know, Ronald Reagan said it best, the closest thing to eternity is a government program. Once these programs get stood up, they never go away because everyone somehow gets their hooks in them and all of a sudden they're getting a handout. And of course, there's that little thing about the IRS and what they're doing to double the number of agents. And people are like, well, I don't really understand. I don't have anything to hide. It's not about that. What they're doing is they are weaponizing our community banks against us, making them spy on every single person who has a bank account. And if you have $600 or more in your bank account at any given time during the calendar year, you are subject to oversight and scrutiny of the IRS. Keep in mind, they are behind on processing 2018 tax returns to the tune of 500,000 tax returns that they can't process because they don't have enough people. So instead of addressing that backlog, they're more concerned with spying on Americans because they want to make sure everyone's paying their taxes.
Wait.
What they're trying to do.
Hold on. Now, that doesn't make sense to me because, first of all, with the tax rate and this big $118,000 tax credit that people making $800,000 or more would get, that doesn't sound like what Joe Biden told me, that everybody needs to pay their fair share, so that can't be true. And then you tell me about the IRS, but I was told that Trump was the authoritarian president, but these things sound very authoritarian to me. What gives?
Well, as we all know, facts are very difficult for Democrats in particular. And the fact remains that the Biden administration has been more focused on invading the privacy and data of Americans. They're more hell-bent on making everyday Americans and small businesses pay for it. They're hell-bent on fundamentally changing the very fabric of our country. We see that in what they're trying to do by an open border policy, defunding police on the front lines, because ultimately this administration is about dependency and control. They want the American people to be dependent on the government so that those in government can control everything about our everyday lives in our society. They are social justice warriors at their very core. And that is why, again, and I think I say this every time we talk, Bob, we've got to take the House back. And I feel very confident that if we keep working as hard as we are, keeping the message out there, really exposing the hypocrisy and the dangerous nature of what this administration and Nancy Pelosi are doing, that Americans across the country are going to wake up and say, no more, we're done. And we will get a Republican majority in both the House and the Senate in these midterms coming up.
One last thing, because we got to go.
Yeah.
China, friend or enemy, and is President Joe Biden bought and paid for by the Chinese Communist government?
Beijing Biden is 100% paid for by the Chinese Communist Party, 100% major adversary. They are not our friends. We need to 100% get serious. And every American, regardless of party, they need to recognize that China is not our friend, and they will do anything and everything to undermine us, and they already are.
Kat Cammack, Congresswoman, 3rd District, always a pleasure. Keep fighting the good fight and stay safe.
Thanks, guys. Have a great week.
You too.
Awesome.
Congresswoman Kat Cammack. It sounds like she still has, she's still fired up.
Oh, yeah.
When you were hanging out with her at the Black Tie Blue Jeans.
She was, and she still is.
Yep. But the guest editorial in the Gainesville Sun didn't like her. She's too much like Ted Yoho legislatively, and she smiles too much. And I'm serious.
And get stuff done, right?
And get stuff done.
There you go.